This is great. Thank you. This is, to see this amount of people here is wonderful. It's, now it just makes me even more nervous. So I was hoping nobody would show up and I could just go home. But no such luck. This, I don't know what to say. I'm pretty inarticulate, really, when it comes right down to it. I should thank some people. In the first place, Christine Trainor for allowing me to use this wonderful painting of hers called The Nature of Memory as the cover of my book. And for years and years of friendship. Nudie and Catherine for coming and playing. It's great to have you guys as a part of this. And you guys mean, your music and yourselves mean a lot to me. I was afraid this afternoon that I would go dumb and wouldn't be able to talk. So I wrote out something about what I do, really, and about poetry in general. I guess it's more general than specific. I hope it doesn't bore you too much. And then after that, I'll actually read some stuff. So I was just thinking that poetry, all art really, is based on varieties of experience, which are really just a form of memory. And art is a synthesis of those memories, usually infused with desire in one form or another. And as such, can be thought of as an expression of an innate theory of mind, or at least an ongoing series of experiments used to test such a theory. What I mean is that the work, paintings, songs, prayers, poems, jokes, whatever, is intended to evoke or provoke a response in the reader or listener or viewer by which the so-called artist can appraise the current state of the theory. I think that the theory itself is rooted in the discontent and loneliness that is the basic condition of the human animal. And that it is this discontent and loneliness that makes the theory necessary. We need to know that we are not truly alone, that others have felt things we have felt and thought things we have thought. And beyond this, the thing that goes a long way towards validating the theory for us and keeps us at creative work is that a particular image or metaphor or a use of light or a chord progression that we choose to express a thing makes someone go, oh, in appreciation or recognition. Of course, looked at in this way, poetry in particular is only a minor subset of experiments, an offshoot of language, without which poetry would be impossible. There's a British anthropologist and evolutionary biologist named Robin Dunbar, who's hypothesized that the evolution of language has been driven by its usefulness as a social grooming and networking tool, a way to keep current with everything happening in family and social circles, and now even, I suppose, in professional circles, and to help us maintain or better our positions in these circles. So, you know, monkeys and apes pick nits off each other. We gossip. Basically. Yep. It's a damn dirty job. And I'm not a particularly subtle poet, which you may notice as I begin to read. Most of my poems revolve around desire in one form or another. So, where to begin? I think I'll read a couple from my first two books, and then from the book that's being launched tonight. Maybe just one from each of those. This is evidence of my preparation. The farmer thinks about cows and fish. Hard birth this morning, he says. Breech. Hard birth this morning, he says. Breech. And stands looking at the straight. Had to reach in and turn it in the canal. Still wouldn't come. Like it didn't want to be born, you know. Then had to rig a halter on the cow. Hitch her to the pen so I'd get at it with the chain pullers. Hate using them pullers. Don't seem right. Metal being so close to a womb. Metal so near to being the first thing felt in this world. But what are you going to do? Gotta use them, or the birth canal might as well be a spiked gun barrel. Only worse, because you can always not use a gun. But living tissue, it's locked into musts. It does or dies. So, I wrap the pullers behind those wet hooves and lean back, pulling steady like you gotta do, keeping the pressure constant so as not to tear her or the calf, and all the time her head swiveling on the line hitched to the pen like she was spitted on it, and lowing a long B-flat ball that you could believe was the horn in the lighthouse at the point, till her hind legs went all spraddled as her hips sunk and swayed, and the calf come all at once, looking like some misbegotten fish they say you might find in the Great Lakes these days, flopping down all wet and shiny in the straw. Yeah, hard birth. Seems like every calf there ever was had joined its birth's reluctance to that one. I got down by its head and cleared its nostrils, and she stood there with her head down, trying to suck in all the air in the world. You'd think her ribs were going to break from her breathing, pushing the afterbirth out. Well, better get at that seed drill, I suppose. Be on the land soon if this weather holds. He lifts his cap and resettles it, turns his eyes from the straight. Glad I'm not a fisherman. Sure, I've got my griefs with God and the government, but at least I know when my stock is breeding, and I get to plant what I hope to harvest. And I just want to say that Catherine and Nudie are going to, I think, hopefully play a bit more after I'm done reading this stuff. So, also, I'm pretty pleased by the song, the O'Leary song that you got to play as well.
Thank you.
My family's roots being on the west end of the island. Green leaves. It is January, but I am thinking of green leaves in the rain, and how on their edges water gathers like moments. How under the sound of the rain there is another sound, a ripping of dry leaves, as the skin of water stretches, and each drop is hung like time from gravity's thin strings. Okay. And now to this book, which I haven't really, it's still fairly new, obviously, since we're launching it tonight. So I haven't really come to terms with how I feel about it. It's set up in 3 sections. The first one is a series of poems focused around the death of Hank Williams. Some of them are supposedly in his voice, and others are in voices of unnamed others. Hey, Beasley. And they all have little headings which attempt to give an idea of what time they might be in if they were songs. And I have to thank Dave Nicholson and Mike Leon for helping me come up with the timing and the organization of this section of the book.